Hi, my name is Terry Lee from Sweet Pea Papers in the Sweet Pea Papers Facebook group. This is video 1 in our series Honey and Tea, and this is my CollageType design team project for August of 2022. Now, this kit is a nice big kit, and it's got this cover page, which is a full-size page. We're going to go over the kit right now, and then we'll come back and we'll go over the project. And if we have time, we'll also do page 1. These are the book pages, and there's 8 of these. This is probably what I will use for the cover, or I'll try to reduce the big one down. And there's bees and birds. Here's a nice writing page. Well, they're both nice writing pages. Here's some nice pastel. The whole kit is in pastel colors, and it is from 2021, but I just love it. And this is the first chance I've had to do it as a design team project. Here's some backing pages in writing page size. This is a beautiful page with hummingbirds on it. And we've got some beautiful roses with a little bee. And we have a bird, which might be a sparrow, might be a wren, not sure which. And a nice writing page that says beehive on it. Now, we'll come to the ephemera now, and we are going to go through the ephemera. And my dog was barking in the background. It's 5:15. Lovely. So there are, now I've forgotten, it flew out of my head. The ephemera pages, I was going to tell you how many. There's quite a few, as you can see. They're all very pretty. These are cards. These are cards. Here's some tags. These are beautiful. Now these cards, you print them out and then you fold them in half and make them into writing spaces. And you'll notice as I flip the pages over, they're all white on the back. I have not double printed them yet. I use a neutral tea-dyed paper that I have from a kit that I purchased that has just tea-dyed paper. Then I'll also be using the backing papers that come with the kit, which we haven't quite gotten to yet. Here's some more that you fold in half. Some additional tags. An envelope. A manila folder type fold in half, only it has this decorative top. So it's actually a folio. Some envelopes and a bookmark or a border, or the spine cover if you're making a hardcover book, which I'm pretty much thinking of doing with this kit. 2 more pockets and some decorative elements. More decorative elements, which of course I will not print on the back of these. And some additional, here's one with a nice beehive and some flowers and a bird. So we have the birds and the bees. And so those are the ephemera pages. And these are the backing pages. This one goes this way. No, it doesn't. This one goes this way, which is very nice. Thank you, Nanine. I can cut it in half. And another backing page, which goes this way, which I can still cut in half and use it in this orientation. Some of these I have right side up apparently, and some of them I don't. this beautiful page with the bird from earlier, which I'm pretty sure now is not a sparrow. They're a little bit shorter, fatter, and more brown. This one has a little bit of rose on its breast, so I'm not sure which bird that is. I can ask Nanine, and I'm sure she will tell me. Here's our nice backing page that you can use either way. The same here. It's got text on it. And this nice one with a pattern, and I'm not sure what that pattern is called. This image here, the yellow. I don't know if that shows on the camera very well. I'll give it a second for the camera to focus. And some very pretty flowers, but they're very light. And another text page, but different colors. And another of the pattern page, but in different colors. So that's the introduction to the kit. It's a nice large kit. There's 8 backing pages, 1 cover page, and there's a spine in there, and then 8 writing pages. And I never did count how many ephemera pages, but there's probably 16, which is the number of the other 2 put together. A lot of ephemera that we can use. Sorry about that. Image right up in your face. Okay, so that's, like I said, the introduction to the kit. And then we'll come back and have an introduction to the project. And then hopefully we can do a little bit of the project in this first video. Okay, we are back. Now, you will notice that we've got some stuff going on here. I've pulled out some of my tea-dyed lace, and I don't know if you can tell the color or not, but it's like a rosy tea color. You can tell a little bit more on this paper, or on this piece of lace here, because I, believe it or not, I used lemon senior tea, and you can see that it came out like a rose color. So I don't know if it was the chemicals in the tea or not, but I really like it. It's the same with this one, but it's a little harder to see on camera. But they are tea color as well. They're not dark like coffee dyed paper. And since we're using the manila folders, let's just go ahead and stick with the tea dyed that we're going to use on some of the pages. Now, let me set that aside. Now, the other thing is, you'll notice that I've cut 2 of the 3 papers, or folders, that we're going to be using as pages. The reason I'm doing that is because printing these at 8.5 by 11, using an 8.5 by 11 folded sheet like this is not going to work with showing a border that we've put on. And I've decided, let me see here, this is the same. Oh no, it's not. That's the illegible text. Anyway, you'll notice that the paper comes to the edge and leaves the border so that you can see it around the edges. Oops. Well, let's see if I can get this on here right. And it leaves the border around the edges. Okay, so what I did, instead of going exactly to the edge, because if we had if we had cut this to 8.5 by 11 this way and folded it in half, it would be perfect if we didn't want to have a border show. But I always like to have a little bit of a border. So, or almost always. So let me put this paper back over here. I did cut all the pages in half, except for the 8.5 by 11 big sheets. So I've got these pages, a couple of these are duplicates, because I, let me get these out of here. These are my picture pages. And these are my pastel pages. Some of them are writing pages, some of them are just the pastel. Okay, so those are going to be our papers. Now, I cut these to 9 by 6 and then I trimmed them down by putting the paper on there once I had stamped the border to see how big the border looked around it, and it looked a little too big, so I trimmed it down a little bit, not enough to give you a different measurement. You're just going to have to look at it and decide how big of a border you want to show, and then cut it down to your preference from 9 by 6. Now that means you're going to cut this 9 high and 12 inches wide if you're going to do 9 by 6. And then if you're going to go ahead and cut it to 8.5 by 11, then you're going to go 8.5, and you're going to go 11 this way. Now, a tip is to cut this, and we're going to do one together, and this covers why the, no it doesn't, not yet. The manila folder, if you cut it this way first, it cuts the tabs off. Okay, so on another quick tip, I use this stamp from the Tim Holtz Ultimate Grunge set, which the stamps look like this, and we're using this stamp right here. I think it looks like little branches along with it. If you use the whole thing, it would look like the cracked spot on some sort of a surface. So I've been using it for all of my little branch borders. Now, I've been doing it by hand, you know, just tapping it around, which is fine. If you wanted to use this on a acrylic block, here's a note. I got these on Amazon, and you'll notice they're frosted. And I don't know what different material they're made out of than this acrylic one. Maybe this one is plastic and this one is acrylic, but the stamp does not stick on these at all, but it does stick on this. This is the only size one I have for this. That's why I didn't use it. You can also use a stamping platform. I have the Tim Holtz one. I haven't used it yet. And thank you guys for donating and supporting the channel to allow me to get that. But I didn't use it because I thought it was a little big for doing what I wanted, and I just wanted to do it by hand. But I just wanted to mention that about this so that you would know. Let me set those out of the way. Okay, so we're going to cut it, and then I'm going to show you a little bit how I stamped it. And I tried a bunch of different colors. I tried Vintage Photo, which I thought was too dark, and Gathered Twigs were too dark. Then I tried Bundled Sage, which was too light, and Old Paper, which was too light. And I ended up settling on Brushed Corduroy, because that looked like a twig color to me. And even though these are pastels, I decided because of the bird and the eggs and the bees, the birds and the bees, that twigs, or this kind of a twig crackle pattern around the edge, would look the best in my preference. So we're going to cut this at 12 because we're going to fold it in half to get 6. Now, you want to make sure that, let me think about this because I think I'm about to do it wrong. You want it to be 9 inches tall. You want to make sure that your fold is on this side over here. And I want to make sure I do this right. I believe we're going to go to 9 for the height and then 6 for the width. Yep. And so that's going to cut this off, but it's also going to leave us a flap like this that we might use in the book. They're a little thick for adding to more manila folder, but you know, it may come in handy. Remember that your tab is over here, so line it up with the measurements, the little border here, the little stopper on this side with the tab. I have my cardboard blade in. Then we're going to cut it to 6, making sure our fold is on this side. And now this is going to be the cover. So I'm going to leave it at 9 by 6 for right now. And I'm not going to cut it down until I see how thick this is going to be and how much the center one sticks out. So we're going to have 3 folders. This time I just did one, and I don't know if this one's coming out before that one or that one's coming out before this one, because these are design team projects and I'd have to look at my spreadsheet to see when they were scheduled. So on the other one I did the folders all the same size, but I didn't have a regular cover with a cover sheet and an inside cover. What I did was I made a feature that was a folded policy closure, and even though when you opened it up it did something different, it looked like a policy closure from the front, and so but it was tied shut, and the what was I going to say, it took the place of a cover image. Okay, so this one we're going to use a cover image. So we need to have this a little bit bigger to take into account the creepage, the creeping of here. We're also going to use a couple of coffee dyed papers, which I don't have right now. I'm dyeing them right now. And we're going to use, hold on just one second. Oh, here's the ephemera that I cut up. I haven't inked it yet because I don't know what we're going to use. I did print this double-sided, and we're going to use this as a page in our journal. Okay. And then we've got the cards that fold over. We've got the ephemera that's the windows in the pockets. And then we've got the cards and the decoration. Okay. And then we have all the little tags and the little decorations and the other little decorations in there. And this is how I keep them, right to the side of my work area. And then I put my notebook with my notes on top of that so I can see it. If you want a copy of the notes typed up in a PDF, I don't remember if I mentioned this in the first half of the video, then you're going to want to go to the Sweet Pea Papers Facebook group. The link is underneath the video, and the I'll put it on the screen right here if I remember. So this one's a little bit bigger. I'm not going to ink it yet. Oh, and I did ink the edges of this just so it wasn't the cream color. Excuse my voice. But this is how I inked it. I didn't go like this so that you would see a whole bunch on the edges. What I did was I just ran the ink dauber across, one page at a time, of course, but I just ran it across like that, just to get these edges to be that same color of the brushed corduroy. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at my cover images. I've decided to make these inside pages. This is the one with the bee. So there's 2 of those for the inside. This is going to be our front cover, which is the smaller version of the big one, the 8.5 by 11. And then I've decided this is going to be the back cover to go along with the birds. This may change. I'm still debating on whether to just use a plain page on the back and use some sort of a feature, maybe an expandable folder or something like that. So that back page may change. These three are not. Okay. And so you'll notice making the cover a smidge bigger will make these pages have a little bit bigger border. But we'll just ink in further and deal with that. Now, since they're going to be smaller, marking for a ribbon, we're going to mark for one, you know, here and on the back. However, we may end up using just a tie that goes all the way around, or we may not need one at all. It just depends on how our book turns out. So we're going to paper clip this to this so that we know this is the bigger one and that these are our covers. Or this is our cover. Having a little bit of trouble. My hands are cold this morning. And it's 74 degrees in here. Okay, so I'm going to put the covers up here. I need to get a manila folder to put completed things into. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to make pages on papers that are the 8.5 by 11 cut in half. So they're going to be 5.5 by 8.5. And then we're going to set each page aside. I'm going to write which video it goes to on the back. And then we will place them in the book according to whatever order we want to put them in, versus just starting with page 1 and then going to page 2 and going to page 3. I kind of like that way better because all we have to do is keep track of whether they open to the right or they open to the left. Okay, so what we're going to do this time, I think you're going to like. It's not very hard because we have to put it in with this introductory part. Well, it's not that it's not hard. I mean, the fact that it's not hard isn't the point. But I think it will make a good page. And I've never done one before, even though it's a simple concept. Okay. This is going to be our paper, and I've cut and inked it, of course, since I cut them all already. In case you're wondering where I reach, I have my little paper clip container here that I got from Dollar Tree, and I stick those little pieces of paper that say paper on there because why keep using new ones? So, what we've got here is some paper for belly bands. You'll notice I said bands, plural. And then we've got paper for our cards, and they're printed on the back. This one is printed on the back with the page that has the writing lines on it. Okay, so we can set these to the side for right now. And I also have stationery that I made for the envelope. This is the envelope that comes with the kit. And I cut and scored it and inked it. And then I'm going to show you how to glue it. So the stationery stuff can all go to the side. What happened to my little tag that said, oh well. We'll stick all these up here. Let's do the envelope first, since we can get that done really quick. To do the envelope, you want to cut it out like this. Now, I forgot and cut it out first before I printed on it. I ran it through my printer and it did this weird thing, but it did print on the top and covered most of it, so I'm okay with that. So once we get it all cut out, it's going to look like this. You're going to want to score it with your scoreboard all the way around on the lines. Then you're going to take and decide which one is the top, and it's this one, it's the bigger one. Then we're going to fold this over. You're going to fold this in. You're going to fold this up. And then we're going to glue it like this. That way our B shows. So be careful. I'm sorry, I could not resist. You can ink this a little more. I was going to make it shorter, but I decided that would make it awfully hard to tell the top from the bottom. Here we go. I covered that up. Made the inking a lot darker, but I think it looks better than having that white. Especially since we printed on the back of everything with, let me show you what I did. This is just cream colored paper from a digital set that I bought. And this has the image of a texture, and it looks a little bit like parchment. So that's why I selected it. All right, let's glue this puppy. We're going to put a little bit of glue on the underside. At the bottom, so that when we glue this up, it grabs it. Then we're going to glue all this. I almost said ink. Where we know it's going to overlap. So you want to fold that one up and glue it. Then we're going to fold this one over, and in fact, you can see the line where the glue is. In fact, we can glue it out further. That'll make our envelope a little sealed a little bit better, because it'll have the 2 rows of glue. And you can see that I made a mistake and put glue where I don't need it. So I'm taking a dry wet wipe, which is an oxymoron, but it's a wet wipe that I dried out. And just laid it out and dried it out. And so now our envelope is complete. And at the end, when we're doing our cards and such, then we will cut down some stationery to fit in there. We'll put our glue away for right now. Now we're going to do a double belly band, and I'm going to try to see if this works. So our first belly band is going to have just the regular depth, as far as it's not going to have a fold over, because it's just going to hold a writing card. Then the top one, I think we could probably do that too on that one and slide the envelope in. It's not that thick of an envelope. I just said envelope. So, like I said, to make it longer than the page, as long as the page, and glue it on, we are going to need to use, actually, because I was going to flip it over the edge and make it thicker, I may still do that. Let's cut this at 8.5. Let's cut it at 1.5 and 1.5 first. Oops, let's put our good blade back in. Okay. Save this. Now, we want to fold this over by a half. So we want to make this 9, and we want to make this one 9. Nope, not true. 9.5, 8.5, and an inch is 9.5. We'll make this one 9.5. And then we are going to have to score them at 1/2 inch on either end. If I remember correctly, I'm going to score it on the back side. That makes it stick out on the front, and that side, that way, folds better. And 1/2 inch. We do this one, 1/2 inch. And this end at 1/2 inch. Okay. So let's double check. Yep, that should be fine. We'll fold it over on our score line. Because the ridge wants to make the fold, even though you would think that the indent would want to be the fold, but it wants to be the inside of the fold. However, I know it sounds like I'm babbling. So let's see where we're at. Why is this not? Why is that wanting to be long, short? Well, instead of wasting them, we're going to make them the horizontal ones. Okay. So we want the fold to be here. We're going to score it on the back side. We need the line on the back side, don't we? How can that not work? How can it be 1/8 of an inch off? I don't understand. Maybe it's to take into account the thickness of the paper, but this paper is not thick. It's 60-pound cardstock. Yeah, see, some people leave them on there, but I don't see how. There's no room for both. Okay. All right. Do not know what gives. Let's try that again. I can't believe that I can't make a belly band, that I messed up a belly band. Okay, we want enough to fold over. We want enough to fold over, so we want to cut it off about here. Let's do this first. I have to remeasure. Leaving too much. I'm going to do it this way because I do not want to have them incorrect again, because that would be just darn a bit embarrassing. Okay, now we're going to put them back on here, and we're going to mark where we want them to be scored. We're going to score them on the back side. I'm going to score it here. Maybe it was the thickness of the score line, so I'm going to give it a little bit extra. When I measure, just a skosh. We can always fold it in more, but we can't fold it in higher, because then you'll see the score line. Okay. Let's fold them on the score lines. Our envelope's going to have some puffiness to it. I want the text to face this way. Perfect. Okay, let's check this one. It's okay that it curls the page up just a little bit because when we glue it down, then it'll be nice and tight. Yep, and that one's fine as well. Okay. So now we're going to put 2 belly bands this way to hold the card. Then we're going to put 2 belly bands this way to hold a small card in the center. Or actually, we're going to put them this way so we make it as wide as we want. We're just going to have a shorter card. Okay, so let's glue these on. Where do we want them? We want them close enough together so that we can glue the other belly bands across. We're just going to glue the little flap. Try to make it as straight as we can on the page. Fold it over. And to do the same thing with this one, and then that will give us the ability to adjust it at the other end to make them straight. Sorry about that noise. All right. One looked like it could have been folded over just a little bit more. Now let's make sure this one's straight. Text is upside down. I'm just going to look and see where the glue is from where I had it before. this one on. Want the text to face the same way on both. That's my preference. You can do whatever you like. I give you my permission. Just double check. Okay. Now this one is going to have our envelope underneath it with stationery inside. So the gap is too big. Let's see. And then we glue it down. Envelope under there. We almost could have another writing card under here too. So we'll consider that. Now we just want 2 small belly bands. Let's see, how do we want to do it? Thank goodness we're not inking a lot. I can't believe this has taken me this long to do this simple page. Right. Now, what if I did one large horizontal? What if I did one large? Oh, then we wouldn't be able to get the card out. Unless I attached it by a magnet. If I did that, it would hold the center down too. Okay. Let's measure for the width. At least we will know that. This one is not going to be one that sticks out like that, or has a gusset, or whatever you would like to say. And I know for sure I marked it. Yeah, either one would fit. What color do I like better? I like this one better. So let's glue the belly band down on one side. Okay, let's put a magnet on here. I should have made this one a flat. That's okay, we can do that. It'll still work. Okay. Oh, what I was thinking. Not thinking about inking, that's for sure. This one we have to ink the underside. Okay. Can I just move it? No. Okay. This is not at all what I planned, but it will work. It will work. Okay, we're going to put one here. And then we'll just cover it with a tuck spot, a little pocket, some ephemera. There's a multitude of things we can cover it with. Get it in the middle of the tape, that would be helpful. I think this piece of tape is too long. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so we're not going to worry about that right now. I will put something over it off camera. Okay. Once again, you just flip it over and we tape it. Now let's see how we're doing. Opens up and put the envelope inside. We're definitely going to need a card, but look, you can see the bird when you open it. And then the magnet should hold it. And just slide the card over, or the envelope over. Let's see if yeah, that sticks better when we do that. Okay, so we're going to make a card for the top. We're going to make we're going to cut the stationery down to fit. Okay, so we will cut it in the center. You know what I may do? Actually, I want the word nests and eggs. So I'm going to mark the length. We want a little bit shorter than that. I want to print the back. Okay, we're going to stop here. We'll finish this page in the next video, and we'll go on to pages 2 and possibly 3. We do have 6 videos this time that we can work with, and I didn't realize that I was going to make the mistake that I made on here, and so I think I'm going to make this longer so that the magnet's over here farther. And instead of a magnet, I may even use a Velcro dot just to make sure that it's down farther. Okay, so we'll finish this page in video 2, and we'll move on to our next pages. And by then I'll have the stationery cut down. I'll have it printed on the back, first of all. And then I'll have it cut down to fit the envelope. And then I will make the writing card. Yeah, because you guys have seen me make writing cards before. We're going to make writing cards for other pages. And I think what I'll do is finish this off camera, and then we'll go right on to the next pages. So what's going to happen is this band is going to go across here. And I'd like it to reach all the way across. So I'm going to cut a new one of these, definitely. And then we will have a belly band, another belly band for another card to go in there. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do different. Let me rescue my magnet from the too short belly band. Okay, so I'm going to finish this off camera, and then we will move on to the next pages. I'm sorry this took a little bit longer, but if you don't see my mistakes, then, as the old saying goes, if you don't see my mistakes, then you don't know how to fix them. So the way to fix this is to make it longer, and then put the magnet on, and then move this magnet over so it matches the placement of the new belly band and the magnet. And I'll show you that when we come back in the next video. And then you'll see what I did, and then we'll quickly move on to the next page. Okay? All right. I will see you in the next video, and that will be just a second for you and a day for me. Okay. Bye-bye.